Everybody wave at the camera.
Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910, the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hahn from Pacific Private Money, California's fastest-growing mortgage investment firm, and Patti Cohn of Pacific Union Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. You're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. You got it. We're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. And the vacations are free. Their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Check them out. Name is Lighthouse Resort and Marina. Today's trivia theme is various records. And when we get to the question, you'll understand.
Right?
Okay, now let's just get right into it. I got a quick little article here, or a little thing here about consider a vehicle return option. It says here, if you buy a used car from a dealer and change your mind, can you return it and get your money back?
Used car, not a new one.
A used car, yeah, because there's no 3-day right of rescission, right? It says here, used cars typically are sold as is, but by law you have the right to purchase a 2-day option to return the vehicle at no additional cost except for what you paid for the option.
So this is from a dealer. Obviously, this is not going to work on Craigslist. But
Yeah, sure. Hey,
what's the cost
absolutely.
of the option?
I was going to say, if you pay me $100,000, you can return any car I sell you, right?
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't say here, and obviously that would depend on the price of the car. But I thought that was kind of neat because a lot of times people, when you go in to buy a car, especially a new one, they'll specifically have you sign something saying you understand you do not have the right to return this after 3 days.
Right.
There is no look-see kind of thing.
It's as is, where is, and no
Yeah.
3-day right. The sale's final.
That's it.
Which
And
is,
it always makes you a little
scary.
nervous.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess
Wheels
it-
fall off as you're driving out of the park.
I guess it's the same thing when you buy a house.
Not really. You've got your due diligence time,
Yeah.
inspections.
But once you actually finally sign,
Once you sign,
yeah,
Unless you can prove there was fraud, like the seller knew something
Oh,
and
that's
didn't
right.
disclose it.
that's good. Very good point.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd bring that up. Patty, you said you before we got on the air, you said you had some exciting news about expensive houses.
Yeah, and I mean, Mark has some information there on luxury too. I mean, I just looked at over 10 million sales. Just took the North Bay.
You mean houses that were worth more than 10 million, not 10
Yes.
million transactions?
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Let's be even more precise. That sold for more than 10 million.
Yeah.
Whether they're worth 10 million or more
Right.
is debatable.
Hey, willing buyer, willing seller.
That's
Right.
true. Arm's length.
So far in 2014, we've had 3 sales that were over 10 million, and 2 of them were Napa. One was in Belvedere. The Napa one was, of course, 45 acres, a vineyard. It was right above Meadowood, but it's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
exciting. Those kind
How
of
many
big
square
sales.
feet?
The house itself is it's built in 2005, and it was 8,000 square feet, something like that.
Just a little house.
Yeah. And what's interesting too, there's 2 in escrow, so that means things are moving.
Wow.
And get this though, there's 18 on the market, so they don't just fly out the door.
18 houses that are worth
Yes.
that are asking. Thank you, Mark. Mark. I knew Mark was going to come in with that. They're asking over $10 million.
Yes,
Wow.
and 7 are in Marin, and 11 are in Napa County.
Okay.
None in Sonoma, but yeah.
Any in Solano?
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
you can buy all
Vallejo.
of Solano for $10 million. But go ahead.
You didn't track San Francisco by chance. I believe there's a bunch of those
Gotta
in San Francisco over 10 million.
There's
right
quite a
now.
few.
Yeah.
And also in Atherton, there's so
Oh,
many
yeah.
traded in Atherton. Atherton's gone off the charts.
Well, it's all that Silicon Valley money.
It is.
Yeah.
And the big lot sizes, the lot lines, it's amazing down there.
Well, Patty, it's great you're here today. Just coincidentally, you're a high-end real estate agent and representing Marin and San Francisco. And there was an article this week which you probably saw in the Chronicle, and it talks about the fact that purchases in the most recent quarter more than double the previous peak, and so that's we're talking about luxury home sales in San Francisco, and they define those as homes of that sell for more than the 2 million or more. So in the first quarter of this year, a total of 291 homes sold for more than $2 million. That is more than double the previous high. in 2007 of 142 homes that
Wow.
sold for more than $2 million. So for one to say that the high-end market in San Francisco is on sale is an understatement. It's just flat out amazing what's trading. And so
When you say on sale, it makes me think that prices are down, but I know that you don't mean that. You mean,
Right.
For sale.
now it says by comparison, sales of all homes and condos in the city fell slightly during the first quarter from, let's call it 1,500 homes down from 1,600 homes, which again was the previous peak in the second quarter of 2007. So really it's amazing that that there's been this huge jump in homes that are selling for more than $2 million. Now some of them, of course, you would say, well, that's appreciation, but 2007 was considered the peak
Exactly.
of price appreciation, the peak of the bubble, the real estate bubble. And here we're looking at more than double the unit sales in this year from the peak in 2007.
would
So,
you call it a frenzy?
well,
Frothy.
Frothy.
Yes.
here's the thing though, when you talk about a bubble in real estate, you're normally not talking about a bubble at the high end. You're usually talking about really, entry-level home buyers, middle class, maybe upper middle class. Now we're talking about $2 million and above, and there's really not, when you get to that price point, $2 million and above, it's a pretty small percentage of the overall Bay Area population that qualifies to buy a home that costs more than $2 million.
Yeah.
Yet here we're seeing an incredible frenzy, which really
There's that word again.
really points out, I think, what's happening in tech, quite frankly, in San Francisco and Silicon Valley.
Yeah, because it's harder to qualify. So either these guys are buying cash, or they just have
That's
super
exactly right,
strong balance sheets.
The vast majority is cash. Like, in fact, all those three that were over 10 million are cash. When you get over like 2.5 million or 3, most of them are cash.
That's Bill Gates' money.
It's Bill Gates' money. Yes, yes. And the other thing about it too is that no one has to buy a $5 million house.
That's
You
true.
could rent one. The numbers don't make sense. They're not an investment that
Yeah.
way. So what it says also is confidence. Because you could still have the money, but you do not have to buy a multi-million-dollar house. No one has to.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think about it that
It's
way. You're right.
confidence.
Very good point. Very good.
And where's that confidence heading? I don't know, because not a day goes by, because I'm in the business of renting money
Yeah.
as a private money loan broker, and we're extremely busy right now because of bank financing is much harder to get, and it's really hard to get if you're a real estate investor looking to fix and flip homes. But it's even harder to get today if you're a home buyer. A lot of the homes we're doing these days are to help people actually close on a transaction they thought they were going to get bank financing for. And not a day goes by that people don't ask me, well, what do you think? Do you think we're in a bubble? Do you think prices are going to continue to go up? Are they going to go down next year? Like a few, there's a minority of voices out there, but it's a vocal minority that are saying, whoa, wait a minute, guys, the prices have gone up a little bit too quickly in the last couple of years, and we may see a little bit of a price pullback. And again, that's a prediction. I don't know that there's any evidence out there to suggest that it's an absolute certainty.
No.
When it comes to the crystal ball for predicting what's going to happen in a year or 2 years in real estate, I don't know that anybody's ever demonstrated to have that kind of clarity.
I have a wooden ball. I can't see through it at all. Okay, we're going to go to our
We'll come
first
back
commercial
to
break.
that, yeah.
Let's see here. First of all, last week, if you remember, we had a special trivia contest where the winner is going to win a couple of tickets to All Outdoors California whitewater rafting in this awesome weather. Jump in and cool off this summer on a whitewater rafting adventure with All Outdoors whitewater rafting. Believe it or not, there's plenty of water for great rafting trips in 2014. Even with the drought, I guess letting the levees go or whatever, and there's lots of water. 4 rivers are running right now: South Fork, Middle Fork, Tuolumne, and Cherry Creek, all within easy driving distance of the Bay Area and Sacramento. All Outdoors Rafting offers trips that range from beginner trips to the ultimate challenge of Class 5 whitewater, and are great for families, groups, and singles. Trips last from 1 to 3 days. Book your summer rafting trip at aorafting.com or call 800-24-RAFTS. Now, here was the question from last week. Over 30% of this cosmetic is purchased by men. What? And the answer, anti-stretch mark cream.
Really?
That's 30% are
That
purchased
is
by
something
men.
That
I would've
is
guessed
shocking.
No, I got a couple stretch marks here I can get rid of. And our winner was Jean from San Carlos. Congratulations, Jean. Okay, so here we go to the first commercial break. And again, the theme is various records. What is the largest flightless bird in the world? That's not extinct yet. So the first 3 callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What is the largest flightless bird in the world? All right, 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name and your email address. Speak slowly, please. Spell out your email 1 letter at a time. Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. Email questions. Mark, yours is, if a borrower does not pay on one of your loans, how much time do you give them before foreclosing?
About 5 minutes.
There you go, that works. And Patti, the one that we have for you is where, it's interesting because you mentioned about the $5 million houses. Where have you seen houses in the Bay Area to purchase that make sense as an investment rental?
Oh, good question.
Okay.
Now, with that, it depends. Right now, what I'm working on for several investors is
Well, you
duplexes,
can answer.
triplexes, and
Okay. You can answer it on air, you know. No, we're not on that.
thank you. Like, what?
I'm saving this file
I'm
here.
not quite focused today.
That's okay.
I'm with the program. Good.
So I'll go back and hit a couple of points on this article that talks about price per square foot appreciation 2007 to today.
Okay, no, then we can feed right into that question. Hey, no coughing. No coughing allowed.
We don't have a cough button.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we'll give you a hint, Mark. And the
Ooh,
bird,
I've got
In San Francisco. Ooh. In San
second
Francisco.
quarter distribution
Awesome.
from the fund.
Ooh.
For
the
my
largest
friend
bird in the world that can't fly was what? Spruce goose?
Spruce goose, that's
Yeah.
right.
Is that?
Okay.
Take it out to
I have a coaching session in Santa Monica tomorrow.
Santa Monica.
Strategic
nice.
coach. Yeah.
No,
It's
Fourth
a
of
high-
July was awesome. Up in Laguna Hills, over watching, see about 6 different fireworks going on. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf and Patti Cohn. When we come to the first commercial break, we ask this trivia question. What is the largest flightless bird in the world? Anybody? And our videographer Kramer said the spruce goose.
Howard uses the spruce goose.
Yeah.
That's probably
Technically that would be correct, but literally no.
ostrich?
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
Ostrich.
Look at that.
We have a couple of eggs at home. Boy, those things are huge. Okay. Mark, you want to finish up with your article?
Well, yeah, because what I didn't get to was to actually talk numbers, well, let me back up a second. We talked about in the last segment how homes over $2 million in San Francisco are significantly higher than at their peak in 2007. And here we are just finished the second quarter of 2014. And what's interesting is that in California, I would guess, I don't have the data in front of me, but I know that I've seen a number of counties and metro areas like San Francisco Bay Area and of course the LA area. Most neighborhoods, I don't believe, have reached the same price level of the prior peak yet. And in fact, some neighborhoods are still significantly below the price peak of 2007. And yet here we're talking about San Francisco, which is very much a very niche market. A lot of it driven by tech and a lot of stock wealth.
Is that the rich get richer type of?
Well, one might make that argument, but check out these numbers. So for houses that sell for more than $2 million, the average price per square foot has gone from what was the prior peak in 2007 of $937 per square foot, just under $1,000, to now just nearly $1,200 per square foot. That's a 28% price jump. So, I was hearing people tell me anecdotally, oh, my neighborhood in San Francisco, we never went down. In fact, we're higher than from the peak, and I really wasn't believing a lot of that stuff. And here we're seeing, real numbers here. Now, when you compare that to average neighborhoods, again, we're still in San Francisco, the average neighborhoods those selling below $2 million, the price per square foot is still higher than 2007,
Like
but it's
700?
10%. Yeah, it's gone from $650 per square foot. I'm sorry, no, from $600 per square foot to just over $650 per square foot today. So the peak in 2007, 600. Now in 2014, we're now at 650. That's a bump of about 10%. So interesting market. So San Francisco definitely is its own real estate market. Is it a bubble? I don't know. They're really you would have to think of what would have to happen for home prices to plummet in San Francisco. And of course, one answer might be if we're in a tech bubble, stock bubble in that burst. And again, I don't know if there's any indication that that's happening, because there's a heck of a lot of value being created in tech today. I mean, it's just
But
wildly
also
growing
those people
business.
who are paying all cash, those people generally are not the kind who
Right.
have to sell.
Do they
so
even
they're not
care?
Yeah, so they're
Right.
not going to
You pay $5 million for a house and it's worth $4 million next year. It's like, oh no, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's supply and demand.
Right.
And there's so much pent up demand and so little supply that there's so much of a push to get in because they don't want to miss.
I know, but who's got that kind of money? I mean, how many people have that kind of money? That's
Obviously, a lot.
A
Yeah,
lot.
I guess
A lot
so.
of people.
Well, this leads into our email time. Patty, there's an email that we got here. It says, and this is really directed at someone in your position. Where have you seen houses in the Bay Area to purchase that makes sense as an investment rental?
Mm.
And as you were mentioning earlier about these, $10 million houses, that doesn't really, unless you can get like $800,000 a month, it doesn't make sense. But go ahead.
Exactly. And again, define what makes sense means, because typically you're going to go either for cash flow or appreciation.
Exactly.
And cash flow would
No
be
way.
negative in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
but you can actually get break-even cash flow these days
Okay.
in the Bay Area. Now, I call that makes sense because I'm looking long-term. So you hold on to that, and the price is going to go up, the rents are going to go up,
Yeah.
the loan's going down.
Well, also compared to the interest rate that you get at the bank is nothing.
Right.
So
Interest rates
yeah,
are low. It makes perfect sense. I mean, I'd rather do that. Personally, I own property in Florida. I own in
Oh, wow.
Palm Desert, in Napa, in South. I own in Marin. And if you can get in at break even, you're going to be fine, because some of these I've had for 20, 30 years, and prices are up, rents are up, blah, blah, blah.
How do you manage those properties like in Florida?
It's easy. It really
Do
is.
you have an outside company do it for
No.
you? or-
I do it all
Really?
myself, and it's really easy.
Wow.
I mean, you're going to have to find if something goes wrong, you're still going to have to find somebody.
Yeah.
And I have tenants that like me, and so they help me. Anyway, that being said, I wouldn't buy in Florida again. Then I thought I was going for cash flow. No, I mean, I'm going to be getting rid of those.
Interesting.
So that being said, we've now got a median price range of like in Peninsula, San Francisco, and Marin of about $1 million. In Marin, it's $1.1 million as a median. Median price range in Santa Rosa and Napa is $500 in Santa Rosa and $550 in Napa.
Okay.
So that being said, those are still places. I mean, because again, the trends go out. We start in San Francisco and we go up. There's still more appreciation to be happening.
Okay.
And I'm looking to, my next investment's going to be probably like Santa Rosa, fourplex drive.
Now, I was going to say, would it be an individual residence, or would it be like a fourplex or an apartment complex?
It could be either. I mean, I personally think if you can get in and you are breaking even, then do it. I mean, but if you're close to retirement age and you need to live on that money, and you're not necessarily interested in giving your heirs the appreciation when you die and giving them the house, then there's different things to do when you're going to really start going for cash flow then. But if you're young, buy, put 20% down, 25% down, and if you can get in with it, break even. It's a deal.
Yeah, interest rates are so low now, and if you can qualify for it, you can buy a decent amount. So you know, give out your information if people are interested in buying these kind of properties.
Yeah, absolutely. So Patti Cohn, COHN, 415-722-4842, and I'm with Pacific Union.
And also, she's on the Best of Investing website.
So for some additional, just to chime in there, what Patty was talking about. So we're closing a deal next week for a person of foreign descent who is buying a townhome in San Francisco for $1.6 million, and he's putting $500,000 down, and we're making a private party loan for him because he couldn't get conventional financing. And don't ask me why, because I have to go think about that right now. That's not part of the story. You have that. I just look at you. You're gonna ask me, why couldn't he get conventional? Well, because most people can't nowadays. Well, actually, there's a really good reason. He is from Saudi Arabia, and foreign nationals, and banks aren't big fans of that. Banks are all about the borrowers, and private money. We're mostly about the real estate. We love lending on San Francisco real estate, but we asked him, why are you buying? Because it's not for himself to move into. He lives in Oregon part-time, and he came in some cash, and he wants to buy in San Francisco, and he said, well, he did research, and again, he's not from around here, and he believes that San Francisco has the most intrinsic value and the best opportunity for continued future appreciation. So here he is buying a home for $1.6 million. We did the math, and it's not going to cash flow. But again, he doesn't care because he believes that as an investment for this $500,000 capital that he's bringing in from Saudi Arabia, that it's a good investment for him.
So he may have to feed it for a few years.
Right. So he's not alone, because we hear all these reports of Chinese money coming in. So there are a lot of people, a lot of foreign dollars or U.S. dollars coming back into the states from outside the country that believes very strongly in California real estate.
And he has the wherewithal to make the monthly payments to you.
He does.
Okay.
He's got an income stream, and he works, has a high-paying job, and is related remotely to one of the many kings over there. And so
all you have to do is have the oil pump go up, down a couple of times, and there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you can bet that's not happening in Kansas.
Yeah,
or Iowa.
Yeah.
People are coming in and buying $3-4 million homes as a quote investment, and they're doing it with cash because they need to park their money somewhere.
Yeah.
So back to question, let's define makes sense.
Well, when we get back, we're also going to have a question for Mark, and then find out where else people can invest and get a decent cash flow other than zero. Okay. Here's our second commercial break. Trivia question. Again, the theme is various records. Which continent has the most countries? And I'll tell you, it's not North America, because there's only Canada, United States, and there's only a couple there. The first three callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Which continent, and there's only, 7 of them? So you have and I just gave one of them away.
Antarctica.
Yeah, there you go, Antarctica, there's one of them. Okay, so which continent has the most countries? Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing. We'll be right back.
Africa.
It is. Where's my? Yeah, thank you. You want me to put some money in
How
here?
would you like to be my new best friend?
Always. I'll mention that. Yes.
Okay. Oh, no, when Mark was saying it doesn't rain money, that's when I was dropping money.
Oh, but could the camera pick it up that quickly? I mean, because it looks like.
No, but we'll just freeze action.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, very good.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Thought you were handing me money.
Well, I'm trying to bribe you.
Bribery will work every time.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Same with compliments will get you everywhere.
That's it.
So will bribery.
Yes.
I had a real estate. Someone sent me, I don't know what company it was, and they said, excuse me, they probably sent them out in mass. Said, how would you like to sell your home at 48 Main Street, San Quentin? And I emailed them back, and I said, why don't you do your homework? I sold it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How's that
That
happen?
is kind of
Okay,
amazing.
they just get lists.
Well, we
Jeez.
usually get the list from the title companies because it's free, so who would buy a list and have it be that wrong?
Yeah, no
Two
kidding.
years.
That's strange.
Yeah.
And it was a mailing or a call?
It was an email.
An email.
Yeah.
Oh, an email. Okay. All right, ready?
Yep.
Here we
Ready, Teddy?
go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Okay, one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Pomp of Pacific Private Money and Patti Cohen of Pacific Union Realty. When we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question: which continent has the most countries? Patti, you know that.
I think it's Africa.
It is Africa. Very good. And Mark, really quickly before we get into your question that we got from a listener,
Yep.
Our friend here, Mr. Kramer, our videographer, is having his the Marin History Museum historical film series presents his award-winning Eye of the Storm
Wow.
documentary when July 15th, which is Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Where? At the Elks Lodge at 1312 Mission Avenue in San Rafael. Admission is only $10. And any questions, you can call 415-454-8538 or go to info@marinhistory.org. I've seen the movie. It's actually very good. Kramer's a very good videographer, and this has to do with the Tukey Williams execution. Kramer lived at San Quentin, not in the
Wow.
prison, but just outside the prison, guarding it. And
I was in the prison for a while.
he was in the prison for a while, but not as a prisoner. Okay. So anyway, if you get a chance to go, it's a very interesting documentary. Eye of the Storm, July 15th, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. at the Elks Lodge in San Rafael.
That's impressive.
Very good. Okay, so Mark, we received an email for you that says, if a borrower does not pay on one of your loans, how much time do you give them before foreclosing? This is probably from a borrower. Well, it could be
Probably
from a
not
lender,
from a
too.
borrower,
Yeah.
probably from a potential investor
Yeah.
who's looking at maybe trustee investing or mortgage investing.
Maybe he's
So-
hiding, and maybe it's one of your borrowers, and he's worried.
Maybe it's someone that wants to aid and assist in getting the money.
Yeah, that's
So at Pacific Private Money, we make private money loans, also known as hard money loans. And the bulk of the loans we make are to real estate investors, or I should say the bulk of the loans we have made to date, which are over 700 loans since 2008, have been to real estate investors. Although this year in 2014, we're finding that the bulk of the loans we're making now are to people who are trying to close on a primary residence. They're finding that the bank financing isn't coming through fast enough. So that's a very interesting twist, in the marketplace for us. And of course, I'm just thrilled that we're able to take advantage of that need and fill that need, because obviously the banks are leaving a void in the market, and we're there to fill it. So one of the there are a lot of nuances about a private money loan, but for the most part, the loan itself is a contract identical to those made by the banks. What do I mean by that? Well, when you go to borrow money from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, B of A, Chase, Citi, the loan documents aren't any different than the ones that we use at Pacific Private Money. They're basically standard contracts: the deed of trust, the promissory note, the disclosures. There's 80 pages of stuff you got to sign, and a lot of those documents are due to the type of regulations that we have today that we didn't have 10 years ago. So, the private money / hard money lending industry today in 2014 is a highly regulated industry. And that's not to say that there aren't people that are operating loan shark type activity out there, because there are. But if you go to a legitimate licensed private money loan originator today, you're going to see the same types of disclosures and loan documentations that you would see if you went to the bank. Now, the biggest difference is that it's a lot easier to work with a private money lender. Now, you're going to pay for that ease. We're faster
But
and
that
we're
probably
easier.
makes the borrower maybe feel a little bit more comfortable, though, that they're signing documents that are very similar to what they would at the bank.
Well, it's certainly a breath of fresh air if you've just gone through the pain and agony of trying to get a bank loan and have been turned down multiple times, and then you come to us and it's like, well, you need to close next week, no problem. Now, the flip side of it is that we charge fees and interest rates that are much higher than the bank, but again, that's the trade-off. Now, the question was, how long do you give someone after they stop paying paying before you start like foreclosure proceedings. And what we don't do like the banks do is the banks are acting as if, they're afraid to foreclose.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know people who've been in their homes for 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, haven't made a loan payment, and foreclosure is still, but it's been postponed over and over and over indefinitely. That would never happen on a loan that I originate. Never. So, after 30 days, you get a warning letter. After 60 days, you get a, hey, you have 30 days to bring this current, or we will file a notice of default.
And you have done that.
And we have done that many times. Now, filing a notice of default is basically what it does. It starts a 90-day clock where you are now in a pre-foreclosure basis. And that's where a lot of people are who are, quote, in foreclosure. They're in this pre-foreclosure status of the notice of default has been filed, and in California that's a 90-day process. After 90 days, then if you still haven't brought the loan current, we can then file what's called a notice of sale. That starts a 21-day clock where we can actually sell your property on the auction blocks at the county courthouse and sell the property.
And it's funny, a lot of people don't realize this. It really is done on the
Yes.
county courthouse steps.
Yeah, very informal. A bunch of people gathered around in front of the courthouse and selling properties. Now, how many times have we done that? Out of 700 loans that we've originated, we've only had 2 go to foreclosure. Now, we filed notice of default and put them on notice, but all of those that we filed NODs on have been cured within that time.
Gets their attention.
Yeah, it gets
It
their
does,
attention.
and that means they also had to pay a late fee and maybe default interest.
Right. So we don't mess around. We are not like the banks. We're not afraid of the what might happen to the poor consumer. Because quite frankly, most of the loans we make are not consumer loans. They have been these loans to people who are buying, fixing, and flipping property. And we've never had a problem with these bridge loans that we're making to homeowners who are buying properties. And that's largely because we're making loans that we can really, we have a high degree of confidence that they're going to be able to conventionally refi. I mean, we've got the mortgage loan originator saying, all I need is time. If I had another 90 days, I'd be able to get them a bank loan, but they got to close now.
Sure.
So those are very low risk.
And how do people get a hold of you if they want to borrow or invest with you? And and afterward, when we come back after the commercial break, I want to, you just put out your second quarter and actually your first fiscal year's information. We want to make
On
that
the Pacific Private Money Fund,
information
yes.
that's-
Stick around, we're going to talk about that. So for more information about private money lending, whether you're a borrower or if you're looking at maybe a way to get in on all of this price appreciation that's happening in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and elsewhere in California, we work with over 200 private individuals and help them earn yields of 8% and more on their money. So for more information, Pacific Private Money, we're here in the Bay Area, based in Marin County. Phone number is 415-883-2150, and the website is pacificprivatemoney.com.
Also go to the Best of Investing website and see Mark there.
Yes.
All right, here's our final commercial break trivia question. Again, the theme is various records. Which U.S. state has the largest coastline? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Which U.S. state has the largest coastline? Don't touch that dial. When the Best of Investing comes back, we've got another interesting article. Mark's going to update us on his fund, and then we have some fun thoughts for the day.
Fun thoughts?
Fun
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Is it Texas?
Okay,
Texas is not the answer?
hold on.
Louisiana.
I'm thinking it's gotta be California, right?
I wonder if Patti already answered it, where her property
You guys
was.
are just too smart.
Florida?
Florida?
Because it does go around.
You can guess on the air.
Baja, California.
Baja.
Is it California or
I
Florida?
thought it was Rhode Island.
Very funny.
Ohio.
Kansas.
Oh, I know.
Lots of coastline there.
Yeah.
Washington, California. California's long.
Has to be California. Maybe it is Florida.
Let me just ruin Ed's
Yeah.
show here. Edward's show here. Now they already did me a favor. He's still my new best
Right.
friend, Eddie.
Oh, well,
Edward.
State.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
And got in trouble there, didn't I?
And a really
Actually,
even,
Eddie's better than Ed, though. I'll tell
Alaska.
you.
beautiful like
Okay,
us.
Eddie.
But, 'cause there's a lot of
All right, Funky.
Oh,
Can I
that's
call you
true.
Eddie? Eddie?
I bet you that's
Yeah.
last.
There's a ton of islands.
All right, let me just see.
I don't
here.
think they're counting that though. I don't think they're trying to take it. I saw you doing that on the wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture that.
I know.
There we go.
Because we've got, Gainesville around.
Yeah, it's probably just too easy.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host. Mark Hunt is my co-host, along with Patti Cohen. When we cut to the third commercial break, we ask this trivia question: which U.S. state has the largest coastline? Patti.
Logically, it sounds like California, but it could be Hawaii or Florida.
Alaska.
Alaska.
It was Alaska.
Did you look it up on the internet?
No, I cheated. Patty actually. But I think you said like 5 states. So I can't pick one of them.
I started picking all 50 of them, and eventually I was going to get to it. Okay, let's see. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about your fund, because you just finished your first fiscal year.
Well, for those who are interested in looking at alternative investments, alternative ways of boosting the yield you own on your savings, retirement, investment accounts, one of the things we've talked about on the show, and of course we've done over 200 of these shows now, we're sneaking up on our 4-year anniversary, is that we've talked about mortgage investing, also called trust deed investing, or, in a broader scale, private lending, being the bank. You can, as a private individual, be the bank. What do I mean by that? Well, you're essentially using your savings, your capital, to fund loans that are made just like a bank. They're identical to bank loans on California real estate, whether it's for a purchase or a refinance. And we've done over 700 loans at Pacific Private Money, all funded with private capital, over 175 million in total. And last year we launched a mortgage pool fund as a way to allow individuals, private individuals who are not real estate savvy, but who, like most of us, need to find a way to boost the yield, boost the income they're earning on their savings. Because let's face it, the stock market's been a great ride, but at $17,000, are you going to bet that it's going to continue to go up another 10, 15% over the next couple of years? I don't know if that I wouldn't consider that a safe bet right now based on what's happening with.
Well, the economic data doesn't really back it up. I don't think.
It doesn't really support it. No, that's exactly what I'm seeing. So a lot of people are looking at real estate, and of course, buying real estate is always a good investment if you buy correctly and buy in the correct markets. But a lot of people don't want to go out and compete because there's a lot of dollars chasing real estate right now. So, but what if you wanted to lend conservatively? And that's what we do at Pacific Private Money. We rarely lend more than 70% of the purchase price, and oftentimes it's quite a bit less than that. In fact, the Pacific Private Money Fund has now had its first full year of operation. We have a portfolio with a weighted average loan to value in that fund of 61%. Now that's 61%
pretty low
of the purchase price, and many of those loans we made are on properties that are being improved. So if we did a market analysis today, we might find that the weighted average loan to value is actually less than 60%, the true market value exposure of the fund. And we produced a yield to the fund. I'm going to give you 2 yields, because when you invest in the Pacific Private Money Fund, you can either take monthly income, monthly interest income on your investment, or you can allow your investment to accumulate, to reinvest those dividends for even higher yields. So the cash dividend that we distributed over the last 12 months was 8.22%, so just under 8.25% to our investors. And so for people who are income investors, that's a pretty darn good.
That's a little better than zero.
Yeah, it's a
lot better than
It's
zero.
a lot better than what you're getting in the bonds and in many stock dividends, and certainly at savings rates at your bank. To those who've reinvested, and a lot of people with their self-directed IRAs are allowing it to reinvest the distribution because they're not taking them yet. We paid an 8.54% yield, so a little over 8.5% on a compounded basis.
And you're also having I don't want to call it a seminar, but it's kind of a get-together next week, aren't you?
On Wednesday, July 16th, this upcoming Wednesday night at 7 p.m. at the Patti restaurant in Mill Valley, we are having one of our informational sessions, which we're going to have we have a PowerPoint slide deck, which is not boring. It's actually going to be very informative. So not only are we going to talk about how to safely and securely make 8% or more using your savings, but we're going to talk about what we believe about the real estate market today in the Bay Area and what's trending in loan demand and the types of loans that we're seeing now in the marketplace. You heard me talk about earlier in the show that we're doing a lot more consumer home loan purchases, thanks or no thanks in large part to the fact that banks are a lot more stricter these days, and people are finding that they're not able to get the bank financing they thought they were going to get.
And the best part is there's going to be free food and drink.
The best part is it's a gorgeous environment. We've got already 75 people of RSVP. The room can hold 100, so we're filling up fast. But Edward and I are going to give about a 30-minute presentation and then take questions.
Yep.
So if you bring your questions, you want to know about how the money fund works. Is it risky?
Yeah,
Well, we'll tell you all about it there at the
risks.
Patti restaurant. So if you want to RSVP, go ahead and give a call to our office, 415-883-2150. You can always go to pacificprivatemoney.com and you'll see our email and phone number contact information there. Again, it's a great venue. You can learn more about how you too can earn 8% or more on your money by being the bank.
There you go. We like that.
Yes.
I think I'm going to get back to you for a minute here because you're actually the #1 agent in Marin, which is a large area, and there's lots and lots of agents in Marin. How did you get to be #1?
Well, that's listing agent, and of
Okay.
course, if you're in the business, you want to be a listing agent.
Sure.
And that's based on number of deals. So certainly there are people that have sold higher,
$10 million,
$2 million
yeah.
homes,
Yeah.
and they did $25 million this year.
Yeah.
What I do is I focus on listings, I do all price ranges, I do all over the county, and I tag the listing priced correctly, I negotiate really strong, and I make sellers more money than the average agent.
Okay. Well, and the thing is, it's not that you've been #1 only one time.
Yeah, I've been doing it 25 years, and I'm
Yeah.
always in that group.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. So there's a reason for that. I mean, obviously you have happy customers, they refer you, and the referrals just keep coming, and that's how you stay on top.
Yeah.
Well, it's so hard. When you look in the Sunday paper or the Saturday paper,
Yeah.
and there's dozens and dozens of these smiling faces looking back at you, representing various listings, and there's just so many of you. It's hard to know who to go to.
Well,
So
That's a good
being #1, obviously there's a darn good reason for that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's not like people have to pay you anymore. I mean, right? I mean,
Exactly.
the commission is going to be the commission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's no other business where you can just blow smoke and tell a seller you can get them $2 million, and when you really the price is 1.3. So
Yeah.
it's a matter that's called buying a listing. So I tell them the truth up front and get them more money. And in fact, there's more than dozen. There's 1,400 agents in Marin.
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
only about 2,500 sales, so one on each end. Call that 5,000. So the average agent's going to do less than 3 or 4 a year. I do an average of 20.
Wow.
The average agent gets their. My listings sold this year an average of 2.40% over asking in
Nice.
less than 28 days. And everybody. You talk to every agent, they're #1 in something.
Yeah. Of course.
Last week in this
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about, I like to
On the
talk
street,
facts.
yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
really like to talk facts. So when no one can beat that average of 2.3 over asking. So I match that against the other average agent. The average agent is at 97% something.
Okay. And so that the thing that's nice about that is that means you're pricing it well, but you're not underpricing it. Is how I kind of view that to be. So
And pricing's like water. It finds its level.
yeah, exactly. So again, if people want to get a hold of you, if they want to list their property,
Absolutely. Patti Cohn, 415-722-4842, Pacific Union, the luxury broker in the Bay Area.
there you go.
Nice.
Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. In 1999, Furbies. Remember those guys? Little talking,
Yes.
little furry things? They were banned from the national security agencies. Is that the NSA? at Maryland headquarters. And why? Because it was feared the toys might repeat national security secrets.
Oh no.
Oh, Jimmy, give me your little Furby. I wanna get the information from him. And remember Coach Bear Bryant?
Yep.
He was once asked to contribute $10 to help pay for a sports writer's funeral. And according to legend, he said, "Here's a 20, bury 2." Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.